automats are returning into the United States of America. I always try to leave y'all with something that y'all may or may not have been thinking about prior to exiting out today. So I just want to share with you guys what an automat is and what you can expect to see. And one of the reasons why I'm inspired to show you this, guys, is because I want to go over to Tokyo to study and discover how they've been able to do this effectively, because this is a part of their cultural norm over in Tokyo. Over in Tokyo, thank you, Brock. I'm going to be reading that shortly. Over in Tokyo, this is something that has become their cultural norm. Automats, not Autobots, automats. Hit a like for the YouTube algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications. Let's get
Well,
into
everything
the money.
old is new again, including a style of dining that gained popularity during the Great Depression called automats. It's a type of food vending machine that allows diners to pay for their meals and then receive them from a cubby-like compartment. The last one in New York City closed in the 1990s, though, but now restaurateurs are bringing
might
them
be an
back.
investment
So for more on
opportunity.
this, we are joined by Stratus Morfogen. He is the creator of the Brooklyn Dumpling Shop, which is an automat chain based in New York. So you got me going right down the rabbit hole, right, with this, because people know I live in Philadelphia. So as soon as I started to read about it, the first one was in Philadelphia, took off, and then immediately very quickly they opened another restaurant in New York, and it's been great. So talk to me about what the original automat was and why it's coming back.
It's funny, we're flipping that. So the original one for me is New York, and we have 3 in construction in Philadelphia right now.
Oh, get out.
Yeah.
That's
so
great.
the graffiti we're putting on the wall, we're doing like a homage to the Horn and Harder.
Right.
Because the Horn and Harder to me was the Model T. I got introduced to it when I was 10 years old, and it never left my mind, growing up in the 3rd generation of restaurants.
Hey, if this is a viable business opportunity, y'all want to invest in automats? Because I'm not asking y'all to put any money into it, but I am contemplating it, doing it myself. One of the problems, because I'm looking for new ideas to pivot from our original idea of the Investing in Business series before I continue that series within the Patreon. Link is in the description as well as pinned to the top of the chat. I'm looking for something that doesn't require us to utilize people. The most difficult aspect of any business is people. And with technology going the way that it is, I'm sure that we can solve for a way in which we can extract an extreme amount of profits without necessarily needing a lot of people to run it, right? And so is automats a possibility, Ad Avis, that we can invest in it, but I want to see how it is that they leverage it and do it over in Japan. Reading that super chat shortly.
But when I got turned on to the automat, and then I realized, in the 70s and 80s, it started falling apart. I didn't see them anymore.
Yeah.
And what happened with the automat, to put it shortly, is that technology failed the automat in the 70s. The rise of fast food was coming at us, and there were no dollar bill receivers. There were no credit card processors. So the consumer fell out of favor with the automat. So the point is, technology killed the automat in the 70s.
Yeah.
And the last one, like you said, was 1991.
Yeah. More novelty than anything.
Yeah, it was a novel thing,
Yeah.
because they went from, I think, 100 locations down to like 17 by 1980s.
Right. So the original, the old style, you go in with your coins, and the secretaries who had never been sort of working in the city before, they were there, and the businessmen, and you had this, you threw your coins in and you got whatever was in the cubby hole. And it offered you a quick, fresh meal.
Yeah.
You didn't have to tip anyone, which would be a little bit different than a sit-down restaurant.
Yes.
Sounds great.
Yeah.
What's the new version of this?
So, what we did first it started at Brooklyn Chop House. We created this new variation of dumpling. We created a sandwich dumpling. We do everything from peanut butter and jelly, bacon cheeseburger, everything that was once a sandwich is a dumpling. So it's important that the fare is there, because the automat can be a novel approach. If your food is not great, people will come, experience it once, pull out their phone.
Yeah.
So what we did with Brooklyn Dumpling Shop is that I wanted to create a restaurant concept that speaks to the phone. So we created the smartphone automat, smartphone controlled automat. And, when I see my kids 15 and 16, they barely want to speak to me. They text me more than they actually speak to me sometimes. I said, this is where it's going. Is that we need to basically, when people go to a restaurant, like I just heard, like the McDonald's and the Starbucks of the world, we have the latest in self-ordering kiosks, and these self-ordering kiosks are the latest thing. Well, I tell them, and I've done it a couple of times in a conference, and I don't mean to be mean by it, but I said the self-ordering kiosk is this generation's fax machine. It's already outdated.
Right.
This is the cash register.
Right.
So
And
how
if
does
you-
yours work?
Controlled by a smartphone. We do have the kiosks there because the kiosks have to speak to the 35 and over crowd that walk in and be like, wow, how do I do this? And we have a
I don't think that that's necessary. I think that people are so. That's where the one thing that I think that he might be wrong, because he's saying that what it speaks to as far as the 35 and over crowd. What I found is that an older generation of people actually leverage and use their smartphones more than the young people. I see people that are older, above the age of 40 and 50 and 60 years old. They are more addicted to their smart devices than any generation before them. They swiping left, they swiping right. The motherfuckers be on Facebook all day long. They be knowing how to do stuff. My mom be hitting me up almost every single day talking about what's happening out here and what's happening in the streets. And oh my God, I was laughing at what it was that you were saying yesterday. And Anton, you are having a great show, but you got to stop cussing as much. I'm telling you, these older people are using and leveraging technology more than a lot of these younger people. A lot of the younger people, they just up on it faster. They up on whatever the latest thing is quicker. They get the music faster, but the older people, they love them phones. They love fucking Facebook. They love Facebook. Seriously.
greeter in the front. And the greeter
Well,
actually.
what is this?
Yeah. So the greet actually with our automat, people say, oh, it's lack of personalization. Actually, we do more customer service because we have a greeter in the front. Hey, first time here, let me show you how it works. And yes, they bring these guests, which especially over the 35 age group, they'll bring them to the kiosk and show them how the kiosk works. But when you get the 15 to 30-year-olds, they've already placed their order online. They've picked a time. They've paid for the order. It says 3 o'clock. They walk in at 2:55. And they're like this to the greeter. They got it. They understand it.
And they just go to the cubbyhole and get their
They
meal.
get a QR code. They scan their phone, and they take their food and go.
So who is coming? Who are you seeing come more? Is it people looking for nostalgic finds, or is it someone who is young going, okay, I'm going to try something totally unheard of?
So the whole creation and concept of Brooklyn Dumpling Shop is to respect the consumer's time. And that's it. And, it's like we don't need toll booths on the highways. We don't need umpires behind home plate in baseball. These are like obstructions to getting to the finish line. And I think that's what a cashier is. What we've done is we've just moved the transactional experience to the guest experience. We don't need to assist people on placing the order. But when they're at the shop, we'll tell them what to have, how to do it, how this system works. Once they get a taste of it, and I've heard this from senior citizens, they're like, wow, you have changed my way. I can't even look at a cashier the same way anymore when I walk into the traditional fast casual restaurant.
Let me show you what the Japanese are doing, right? I want to show y'all what the Japanese people are doing. And this is why I'm so excited to see what the culture is over there. Over in Japan specifically, because they have an entirely, like, this thing has been a thing over in Japan for a long time already, right? And so part of the reason why I'm excited about going over to Japan is that I get to see all of the technologies that they're using and leveraging differently than how it is that we use it and leverage, because we have a completely different culture. They have so much anime. Everything look like a fucking cartoon over there. My daughter is super excited to head over there. Ain't nobody even in there. It's nobody in there. A hamburger vending machine. They got hamburger vending machines, bro.
離乳もしていない目も完全に開いていないようなミーミーなプチピちゃん2匹です。在5年後にそんな幸せなのってあるんですが、そんな方々なんです。
You know this video got like 6 million views, bro. Shit is wild. This video got 6.4 million views from 3 years ago, bro. That's crazy. Anyways, we gotta figure it. It don't necessarily look that good to me either. But that's just a part of the culture over there, and that's pretty interesting because I think that if you find a way to do it more effectively and you make it more customer friendly, the thing that I'm always trying to figure out and I'm trying to solve for is I'm trying to figure out how it is that you can leverage what happens or how it is that they're doing things more effectively in another country from a business perspective into American culture. Because Americans don't necessarily embrace other cultures, but if you utilize the technology similarly and then adapt it, how can we make it more profitable over here?